Gentlemen, I'd now like to invite back on stage MK Anand. MK, if I could request you to do the honors, we'd love to felicitate some of our jury members who are here. MK, can we have you here to do the honors? Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Anurag Kedia, the co-founder of Pilgrim. Anurag, if we can have you on stage, please. Thank you. Anurag, if I can request you to just stay on a little while longer. Now I'd like to invite up on stage Mr. D. Shivakumar, the operating partner at Advent International. Thank you. Mr. Shivkumar, yes, if you could just stay back on. And finally, if you could, everyone put your hands together for Ravi Saxena, co-founder and CEO at Wonder Chef. Thank you. Thanks, MK, for doing the honors. If I could request the three jurors to stay on a little while longer with me. We're just getting a mic to you and would love to hear from all three of you, maybe one by one. Mr. Saxena, if you could start. Just the thoughts, the jury that you saw, as the jury, you saw the winners, saw the nominees. Just your thoughts on that. If I could request everyone to step a little center.
Yeah. Well, this was a surprise. We were not prepared for this. You put us on the spot, but we'll try to say something intelligent. As we said in the films that you saw, I think the process was very transparent and fair. There was a very credible jury, and I was honored to be a part of it. But for me, really, the most exciting thing was to see the variety of ideas, the belief you all have in your ideas, and the way you are going about executing them. I mean, I started my career about 30 years ago, and thinking back, I could not imagine that, we could have the guts and confidence to go like this. And as someone just said, that this is next 15 to 20 years are going to be India's China moment. We have to grab this. And when I see these entrepreneurs, these SMEs, I think we are going to get there very soon. Thank you.
Fantastic. Mr. Shivkumar, Anurag first.
Yeah, I think I have a few memories from the day we met all the contestants. The first one is the kind of innovation and work which a lot of rural entrepreneurs were doing. Our panel had the opportunity to meet many of the rural entrepreneurs where people were doing innovation around seed, pesticide, fertilizers, and some very, very interesting work. And the second memories I have is it was so difficult to choose the final winners, because all the participants which had been shortlisted by the prior rounds, they were all so good. And it was quite a learning experience for all of us also, the jury members, to interact with so many entrepreneurs in a day and understand their journeys.
Fantastic. That's really important. A very humble statement, I think, Anurag, you've said, which is that, they also got to learn a lot from the entrepreneurs. I think that's actually very important, because I believe, and Mr. Shivkumar would love you to weigh in on this also, that learning never stops. So just your thoughts on the nominees that you met, the winners, and just on this, that learning never stops. What are your thoughts on that?
Thank you for that. Thank you, E.T., for inviting all of us here. It was a fabulous full day. I'll tell you what I learned from watching all the entrepreneurs and listening to them. The first thing I learned, irrespective of which part of the chain they were in, whether it's manufacturing, whether it's in retail, whatever they were doing, number one, they had a digital component to it. That was very, very important. Without that, it won't be an idea. Okay, so digital and the differentiation of digital was very important. Two things which surprised me, and as a learning, is that both people and capital were not challenges. Capital was available if the idea was good, and good people were joining them if the idea was good. So today, capital and people are not, a chicken's neck for any entrepreneur. So that's what I learned. Those three things stuck with me as I went through the whole day.
Fantastic, and I'm sure our partners here, IDFC First Bank, would be very happy to know that you also heard this, that capital is not an issue for MSMEs, because that, when you talk to an MSME, and Mr. Saxena, yeah, let's hear that applause, ladies and gentlemen. This is, like we said, the new age entrepreneurs, the new age of doing business in India. And Mr. Saxena, from your experience also, generally we always talk, what are the big hurdles for MSMEs? Capital, people, a market. And like Mr. Shivkumar said, technology has helped break that as well. In your business, in your line of work, when you meet people also, the impact of technology, how are you seeing? Because, gone are the days where someone would say, I'm in manufacturing, I'm in textiles. People say, everybody is in a digital business here, is in a technology business. Just your thoughts.
Yeah, look, I would say there are two aspects of technology. One, the business idea itself could be tech-oriented, and a lot of business ideas are today. At the same time, there are traditional businesses which also have an important component of technology which must be implemented. Otherwise, competition will just roll you over. For example, there was a time like we have a large sales organization, a lot of feet on street. I wouldn't call ourselves a tech business. Yes, we have very tech products, we have techie products, but we are not a tech business. But these salespeople that we have, about 600, 700 of them on the field, without a great tech behind that, without a great Salesforce automation system, we will not be able to get efficiencies that we need today. So every business today, whether it is a tech business in the real terms, or it's a traditional business, it has to adopt technology. And the fight, the challenge, the belief comes from the promoter himself. Nobody else will be able to do it.
Fantastic. Anurag, I just come to you on one point, which nowadays when you read about any small businesses, I would say, in media or on social media, it's very sexy to say, I got funding, I got, a $1 billion valuation, unicorn, startup in that space. But sometimes there are those companies that are making profit, but sometimes there are those that are actually burning that cash. Your advice to companies that want that glory over, those, because there is one school of thought which says that hard business fundamentals is important. Paisa aana chahiye, paisa hai, cash flow hona chahiye. And the other that says valuation is more important. It's okay if I'm burning through cash. What are your thoughts?
So I think some businesses will require some investments for the first few years, in which case, some of the newer modes of capital availability, which is through VC funding, becomes important. However, eventually, see, I'm a Marwadi and that's how I understand. So my mom, who's 70 plus, every time I speak to her, that's the only question she says, Galle mein kitna aa raha hai? How much money are you making out of the month, right? And that's the only maths I understand. And, my dinner table conversations when I was a 7-year-old, 8-year-old, my dad used to tell me, 1% ब्याज हर महीने का जोड़ो, उसके बाद पैसा बना तो पैसा बना. Otherwise, you haven't made money because your even cost of capital is not covered. So eventually, every business has to make money. Some businesses will require investments for the first few years, especially businesses which are very, very heavy on tech infrastructure. They will require some investments, but there has to be a clear path to profitability. Otherwise, to my mind, the business doesn't have a reason to exist.
Yes, sure, Mr. Saxena.
Now, I just want to add something, because I've done research on this topic. I've been very intrigued by this topic, and we ourselves, in my journey of building Wonderchef, we had 3 rounds of funding. So I really mulled over this topic that, what will make a company work. And let me share the stats with you, because you all are winners of this event and budding SMEs, and some of you have already scaled up. So let me share the stats. There is a cash burn model, and there is a cash investment model, in which, yes, you will take some investment to build a business, and then the money will start flowing in. But these are 2 different things. One is a cash burn model, and the other is a cash investment model. Now, in the cash investment model, my stats say, and we studied about 400 companies, that about 30% of the companies survive. 30. In the cash burn model, less than 2% of the companies survive. 30% versus 2%. Having said that, why investors bet on cash burn models? Because when you cash burn, you can make a Facebook, an Amazon, a Tesla. In the investment model, you rarely make that kind of scale in a short period of time. So that's the difference.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Saxena. Thank you, Mr. Shivkumar. And thank you, Anurag. Sorry for holding you here, but I think we just started and then it became such an interesting conversation, so I really didn't want to let you go. We'll just have one group photo. If we could just hold, this is yours. Yeah. If we can just have one group photo. Gentlemen, if you could just step a little ahead. Ladies and gentlemen, round of applause